Howdy friends, welcome back to Plumbing with Tim. Today we're on location at a house that just sold that's vacant, that still has a problem when it comes to the plumbing in the basement. It's a full-size basement, I've been told, and there's supposed to be a bar down there or the sink just won't drain. Let's go take a look. Alright, I see a sink sitting here. Alright, let's run some water and see what it's doing. Yikes, it's holding water. Let's check underneath the hood. There we go, the P-trap. What the heck is that right there? Somebody's got an adapter. This house is obviously built in the 60s. That copper arm back in there, back up in there. What is that? Why did somebody use it? Somebody used that. It almost looks like a check valve. Let's take the trap off. It smells a little funky in here. Let's get our little towel, little catch bucket sitting in there. Safety first. I always recommend wearing some sort of disposable gloves when you're working on sinks, toilets, all the rest of the stuff, especially if you got a cut on your hand or gets up underneath your fingernail and stuff. You could have some problems, so always make sure to have some protective gloves. This has had a little bit of some plumbing repiping. This is PEX A, I believe, but we're not looking at that. Somebody used this as an adapter. That's an 1.5 inch copper line. So it looks like a brass check valve. Let's go ahead and take this trap off, see if there's any debris stuck in there. If not, we might have to move this out. I've never seen somebody do that. There's no reason to have a check valve on a drain line like this, especially with a little bar sink, unless this is all they had to adapt to. If that's the case and this thing's jammed up, we're gonna cut that, pull that out, cut that, and put a Fernco on there. Let's get that trap out. It's got water in there, I'm telling you. It is draining, it's just draining slow. I don't like the look of that check valve sitting there at all. So, off with the trap. Come on. I don't know what was happening here. Somebody's got this messed up. Get it off there. Dang. All right, next we're going to take this arm off of here. If we can. Oh, that sucker's on there. Hold on, bear with me. I need to get this off of here and see if there's crap in here. I already see some stuff. Look like somebody washed maybe a trowel out from doing some cement work or something. I don't know. Let's get this out, see how much crap is in here. Oh, we got a little bit of stuff jammed up in here. We can get in here with the camera and take a look. And look at that. It is a check valve. Who the hell put an inline check valve on this thing? It's closed. You can see it. Oh, God. I have to go up and get the Sawzall. Just cut this thing out. We're going to have to redo this and put a some sort of a Fernco or something on there. That's bull crap. You can see right in there, it's all blocked up because there's a check valve in there. Retards. All right, time out. Let's stop everything that we're doing and think about this for a second. I started to wonder why somebody went through so much hassle and effort to put a brass check valve on a sink drain in a basement. Well, I'm from Florida where there is no basements, everything's under slab and everything. Perhaps this may be the lowest drain in the house, and they put the check valve on there to prevent it from backing up in case the sewer backed up. All right, but we need to look around this basement and find out if there's any other plumbing that is lower drain-wise, where in case if this thing did back up this house, it would come up there first instead of the sink. Let's go take a look. I'm looking for a floor drain or a bathroom, something. Pool table. Hold on a minute. There's a bathroom down here. Okay. Well, that right there, the toilet qualifies as being the lowest drain in the house. So technically speaking, if the thing's backed up in the house, it should come up here in the toilet first. Decisions. All right, at this point, I'm gonna have to make an executive decision. We're gonna go ahead and cut that check valve out of place. And we're gonna put a Fernco on there and just put this thing back together and be done with it. If it ends up becoming an issue down the road, the new homeowners can always call and I'll come back and I'll do whatever I have to do, but we can't have a big old fat brass check valve in just a little drain like a bar sink to prevent backups in here. Like I said, there's a half bath that sits on the other side of the basement and everything. And if it's gonna back up, it's gonna back up. And it's usually gonna be in the toilet area. And that's where the lowest drain point is. So let's go ahead and cut this brass check valve out of this arm. We got to be careful because there's water lines here. I don't want to hit it with a saw and I don't want it to fall down on top there. So we're going to go ahead and cut this check valve out of here. No water came back. Let's put this thing back together. Use a Fernco. Just kind of slide it up there and we'll tighten one of it down. Then we'll add an adapter to come over here to catch the P-trap on there. All right, this is gonna go over here and match that. So we're gonna have to put an extension piece, something like this, for us to match from here over where that Fernco is that you can't see. All right, so now we're kind of got our trap back into place. I've got an 1.5 inch plastic tubular extension tube. We're gonna have to cut one of the ends off and we're going to have to attach it to this trap, and the other end is have to go into that Fernco, tighten it down, we'll test it all out. Are these water lines in the way and stuff? All right, here we go. We've got this, see there's already a nut and ferrule on there from the old extension, but now that the brass check valve is out of the way, we have to expand more of an area. So I'm going to slide this on there, and we're going to slide that into the Fernco. All right, we'll take this nut and this ferrule, we're going to tighten it down, and then we'll take that Fernco that you see right there, and we will attach that and get it all tightened down. All right, let's give it a shot. She's draining. don't see any leaks either. We'll start wrapping this thing up.
Hey, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching me learn something new. I have never, in almost 30 years of plumbing, seen a brass check valve mounted underneath a sink, let alone a bar sink. But before we got too involved, actually I had to think about things. Being here in small town America these days instead of Florida, why would they put something like this down in the basement? Well, because being an older house, I thought it may end up being the lowest drain in the house, which if everything backed up in the sewer, it would be coming up through that sink, and they were trying to prevent that. But a big old fat brass, even though it is a swing valve and all that other stuff, there just is not enough head pressure coming down through that bar sink in the basement for it to actually push that open enough to do any good, because that's nothing more than a trap for debris and crap and stuff like that, and it's going to make that sink always drain slowly. But in this case, what I did is I made an executive decision, and we cut it out, put a Fernco back in its place, and when the new homeowners move in, if they run into the same problem again, they call me up. At that time, I will install a plastic, lightweight swing check valve if we need to. But like I said, there's a bathroom downstairs, and the lowest point is that toilet. So no matter what, if the whole house backs up, that toilet's going to be affected. Got any comments, questions, leave them down below. Until next time, don't forget to keep plumbing.